Hello, growth season. I am here with you one more time. We are still in the midst of our Grow in Health series that we have started doing just a couple of episodes ago. And today's guest, I'm so excited to have Rachael Mull with us today. Everybody say hi, Rachael. Just kidding. Hi, Rachael. Rachael Mull is not only somebody that I've known for multiple years and am honored to be acquainted with her, but she is also a CEO. She is a woman who has great fortitude and has gone through things recently, especially that I want to dig into as we talk today. But I'm not going to say too much about it because I want it all to come from her. And I would love for you all to sit back, relax, and listen to this amazing story. Welcome to Growth Season, Rachael Mull.
Thank you, Susan. I'm so excited to be here and have a chance to share my story.
Absolutely. So it's Grow in Health. We'll get to that part here in just a second. But for those of you, for those of the community who have not met you or don't know you, would you mind giving us a little bit of background? Where are you from? What are you doing? Do you have a family, etc.?
Sure. So if anybody's, from Howard County or the greater Baltimore area, you may have heard of some of our businesses. My family and I, my parents, my sister, my husband, we all work together. We have 2 full-service restaurants. So we have Victoria Gastropub in Columbia, Maryland. Yes, that was our first baby.
Yeah.
Back in 2007. She's been trucking along even through all the craziness of late.
Yeah.
Then we also have Manor Hill Tavern in historical Ellicott City, right off of Main Street. And then on my family's farm, we have Manor Hill Brewing, which is Maryland's actually largest farm brewery. And we're open there on the weekends. And in the summer, we have a farm stand, and it keeps us very busy.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So you guys are very tapped into the community here. You're a philanthropic family. You're givers. You created a sense of family for me when I got here from the West Coast area. What's up, Northwest? But along the way, you guys you had Victoria Gastropub for a minute, quite a while, and then you guys started pivoting and growing. And since it is growth season, the growth that you guys went through was rapid. What were some of the struggles that you guys ran into growing so rapidly?
Oh man, we could talk for hours about that. It's exciting. Yeah, it's funny. At the time, my parents were actually living in a single wide trailer on their newly bought farm when we just had Victoria, and we had a board meeting.
Around the dinner table.
Yes. My sister and I, and my parents kind of said they had been through many jobs and vocations over their years and said, we don't really need to do anything else, but what do you guys want to do? We're here to support what direction you want to go in. And my sister and I really felt like, we want to keep going. I wanted my husband the opportunity to be able to work with us full time. So we just kind of jumped in really with the brewery thinking, we're going to make a little bit of beer for Victoria. And little did we know, once you jump in, you got to go all in.
You got to go for it. And you guys are doing craft brewing. Not only that, you guys have got the meanest soda water I have ever had in my life. It is that Clementine.
Yes, we have 2 flavors.
I am not paid to talk about this, people. I'm just telling you. I had some and it's not orange.
No, it's tangerine.
Tangerine. Excuse me.
Yes.
It's not orange.
Very
You can tell the difference in that. So
yeah.
I'm sorry. Those of you who love soda water, it's for you. Manor Hill. Thank you.
Right from the well from our farm. It's so good old Howard County water.
So what were some of the struggles? I mean, you guys decided as a family to jump in and grab it by the horns, and you guys expanded just overnight, it seemed like, and grew into the community. You opened another restaurant. Tell me a little bit about how you guys did that.
Yeah, you look back. So we opened actually Manor Hill Tavern in February of 17. Mm-hmm. And then something else happened and we opened a third restaurant the following December. And that really stretched us. It put us in just a whole nother realm of management and the levels that we needed. And
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
we're going to do a subtitle for this one, leveling up.
Yeah, it does. It just you kind of you work on where you are and then you think, oh, well, we're just going to triple it and it's going to be the same. And every environment's different, every customer base is different. And it really impacts it. So we actually ended up closing that restaurant right before COVID, right at the
Mhm.
very beginning of that. Just because we kind of decided we were stretched too thin. It if we were going to really make that
Yeah.
as successful as we felt we had done everything else, we needed to pour a lot more of blood, sweat, and tears in it. And we just decided that's not where we wanted to be.
I'm
Um,
really glad that you shared that because this is a little just sneaky season. It's where I was driving
yeah,
because the reality of life in business is that not everything goes exactly how you want it. It's okay to reassess. Would that be you are beyond like there's no way I could even hit your level as far as your business abilities. I'm just going to be honest with you there. I don't want to just congratulations. I look up to you in that arena. We've had conversations before, but what I want to drive at is this idea that you guys were smart or healthy in the way that you reassessed. You were honest with yourselves about wanting to close it down. Here's my question. Is downsizing a form of growth?
I definitely think so. You have to, especially when you're talking about entrepreneurship and small businesses, you have to constantly reassess. And you might downsize one area that you think this is not where we want to go. And then you blink 6 months later and the other side has grown even more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people feel oh, this was the decision I made. I have to stick with it. I can't go back. People are going to think I've totally screwed up. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Other
But
people's
sometimes,
opinions.
yeah, but sometimes making that decision might be the best thing for the health of the rest of the business and your mental stability.
Right.
So I think there is always a negative connotation, but sometimes walking away from a piece of something isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Right. I really like this idea that downsizing can be growth. And I'm just glad that we touched on this a little bit because I think maybe somebody in business and growth in personal, emotional, spiritual, whatever is hearing what you're saying and going, it's okay. It's okay
Yeah.
if I reassess and change. It's okay if I pivot. It's all right for me to do
Well,
something
especially
different.
right now with what any small business has just gone through in the last 15 months.
Yeah.
Everything has been reassessed and analyzed and decided, we close this piece down. Do we want to open that back up?
Mm.
How do we want to do this once we're coming out of the pandemic? And what does it look like? I mean, I think we've all done that personally, right? As our schedules have gotten quieter and we've had less commitments. What do we want post-pandemic life to look like?
Really,
Um,
it's given us a time for some to slow down. I
yep,
think it's a mixture, honestly, slow down, a little bit of extra busy in different ways, pivoting, lots of different things. And so the pandemic, I feel like it's fortuitous a bit, or maybe a little divine intervention that you guys closed one of them down pre-pandemic and that
it
everybody
was
else is still floating and doing well. So that's
Yeah,
huge.
it was a huge blessing. It
Yeah.
definitely, looking back, it was one of those, God moments. Like
Yeah.
just thank you for it was one last thing we had to figure out during the shutdown too.
Hmm.
And just, trying the best that we could to take care of employees and still take care of all our responsibilities. So yes, but I just have to feel that a lot of people have been going through that
Yeah.
over the last year plus. Like what do I want to look like when we come out of this?
Yeah. Yeah. If we do, when we do, some
Right,
sort of
right.
different, I just want to commend you guys. Obviously you're doing something right. If your stuff is still up and running and you're doing well and you've got a great community support system, we love the restaurants in this area very much. So your CEO, your wife, your mama,
Yes. Yes.
you've got a couple munchkins that are so adorable. And can you tell me their ages?
Sure. Right now, my son is 10 and my daughter is 8. They are in second and fourth grade.
That is amazing.
Yes, and we have
Oh.
almost made it through a year of virtual learning.
And everyone's still alive and
Yes,
breathing.
and they've done great, but
Good.
it's a lot of bumps.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I pray for the support for the parents. I'm just shy of having to put my small guy in the learning. So we missed the the stress of
Oh
virtual learning for
man,
this
yeah.
round.
Early on, you'd make it through the day and go, okay, who cried? Did I cry? Did the kids cry? Probably. We all did. We took our turns.
All right, hug it out, take a lap. So you are all of these amazing things. And it's awesome to see. And I really appreciate it. Plus you have a faith component that draws you and I together. That's beautiful. We love our Jesus. But beyond these things, including the stress of pandemic, just so much going on for you guys. You personally had some very serious things going on in your health in the last couple of years. Why don't you tell our community about it?
I did. So this goes back way pre-COVID. So in the summer of 2017, well, let me back up a few months before that. So my daughter's 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a little bit of bleeding when I'm going to the bathroom, go to my doctor. She's like, oh, definitely hemorrhoids. Like, you've had 2 babies, like that's what's going on. So it stops, goes away. I don't think anything of it. So then the summer of 2017, I would have this on and off very sharp abdominal pain. And it would last for 2 minutes, half an hour, go away for 2 days. It was very sporadic, very odd, really had no idea what it was. No other symptoms at all. Finally, after a couple months, texted my family doctor and just said, this is just really weird. I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? And right away, even before seeing me, she's like, we need to get some pictures. You're going in for, a colonoscopy. Let's see what's happening. It's like, okay. Never had one. I'm 39 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So go in for, actually it was called a flex sig, like not full colonoscopy. You're awake. They're going in and they're just taking a little peek.
Woo!
Yeah, it's real fun. So I go in like, thinking I just have a little pain, like whatever. I'm awake on the table and it gets really quiet because my doctor finds a very large tumor. And instantly, like no talking, they're taking all kinds of biopsies. Long story short, stage 3 colorectal cancer. So looking back, the wonderful thing was
wait, notice that
looking
back,
okay. Not at the time, but the pain that I was experiencing, the abdominal pain, had absolutely nothing to do with the cancer. I had kidney stones.
Huh.
So, yeah.
One showed you the other.
Yeah. So my doctor, not having even seen me, sends me to a gastro doctor, and I end up having kidney stones, which I would not have gone to a gastro doctor for.
Huh.
So my kidney stones saved my life because they found that tumor and I was in the Hopkins system in less than a week. So
amazing. You're like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't even have to come for this and then this and then, oh my goodness.
I mean, it's crazy looking back.
Stage 3, what a place to catch it.
Yeah. So, it was probably going on for a while. I'm sure that was what some of that early bleeding was, but it had stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I went through then a very, very long year, let's see, I had 4 surgeries. I had 6 months of chemo, high dose radiation.
Oh my gosh.
I went on a ileostomy bag for 8 months. So it was a really, really long year, and my kids were little. They were 4 and 6, and I'm working. I'm, all these things, and I'm down and out.
How did the kids handle this?
It's funny. Another thing, looking back, hindsight, we wanted to be very descriptive with them and always let them know what was happening. If mommy was going into the hospital, like this is how long
Mhm.
I was going to be there. This is what was, she was going to be in bed. But we never, ever, ever said cancer because I was just afraid it had such a stigma, and that it would just scare them way beyond what they needed to be scared with.
What a beautiful choice though, as a family, you know,
Yeah. And
it's
so
being intentional, you know?
right. We didn't want them to be, they were so little, like afraid any more than they needed to be. But way after I was fully recovered, my son said I was going in just for some regular testing. And he said, Mom, are those kidney stones still really bugging you? So in his mind, everything that I had gone through was because of my kidney stones. I'm
Those
like,
rat
oh my
kidney
gosh.
stones.
So then we did, as they were a little older, sat them down and explained to them,
Yeah.
what really happened with mommy. But yeah, it was important to me that they not be any more scared than they already were.
More heavily burdened, right? I
Yeah.
mean, just
Hmm.
they're resilient, but
They
why
are.
why make them more resilient than they need to be at the time, right?
Exactly. I still wanted them to just, enjoy their childhood and be happy. And oh my
Yeah.
goodness, they got so spoiled during that time too, with everybody that would come and
What do
take
you
them to,
want? You betcha. You bet you
yeah,
can.
take them on all these adventures and out to dinner and give
Oh,
them prizes, they,
what a
they,
wonderful
they had a good
community.
time.
So this was pre-COVID. So you were able to visit, people
Yes,
were able to visit you and be around and stuff. Did you have to guard your immune system in any way?
I did. My white blood cells were in the tank.
What does that look like, Rachel? As far
You
as
know, I mean,
steps you take to guard your immune system during that time?
yeah, I stayed at home a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Really just tried to be very, vigilant. And, it's still, we think a lot of the things that we're doing now that we've done over the last year.
Little preparation for you.
Yeah, just everybody constantly washing their hands and, not being real close to people and
Yeah.
all of those kinds of things. And, I also reached out to everybody I knew, like, what can I start doing to obviously someone told me, when you're in a cancer stage, your house is on fire and you call the fire department. And Hopkins was my fire department.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of other things that you can do on your own to continue to build up your body. And so that I got into, essential oils and,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of other things that I really, really 100% believe helped my immune system,
Good.
um, in order to fight and rebuild itself after being taken down by all that chemo.
We're talking about health, obviously, right? And you're telling your story. And what I'm hearing is that you not only trusted your medical staff and your medical team, and you sought real official help, but at the same time, you were also willing to be responsible for your own health. And I think that it's a difficult step to take for some until the house is burning down.
Yeah, it's so important. Like if you're not your own advocate,
Mm,
nobody is going to be.
yeah.
And that's really important when you're in the health system, when
Mhm.
you're working with your doctors and really trying to understand and, make sure that they understand where your perspective is. But I also think it's really important on your overall health, your eating. I really hit hard on my diet and what are things that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing. And at the time I was not able to exercise much,
Yeah.
because my body would not be able to handle it. But I am now, and I'm in like better health than I've probably been in my adult life. I
I
know,
love
it's
it. Just
awesome.
grab it by the horns and do it, Rachel.
I know.
So it's interesting. I didn't expect to see this common thread, but I'm thinking about both of the portions of our conversation with business and with your journey with through cancer. There was a huge reassessment stage.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah.
Yes. I
Hmm.
wonder sometimes, I think sometimes personally, and I guess I suppose I'm not alone. I hope I'm not. So hang with me out there, guys. Um, Sometimes I'm afraid to reassess because I won't like the answers.
Oh, or not even you won't like the answers. You won't like the steps that you have to do to get there.
Oh,
Oh, I need to
oh, yeah.
take like some sugar out of my diet.
Get out of my
Well,
business.
okay, I'll stop eating my kids' candy every night, but sugar's in everything. There's so
Yeah.
many things that are like so hard. And when you're already going through something that's hard, you don't want to add another layer.
Yeah. For me, diet is directly, it's directly linked to my mental health. And then maybe some other episode, I can talk a little bit more about that. But if you think about it, Advil goes into your stomach or ibuprofen goes into your stomach and it helps your headache. So we know that the stomach and the head and the blood system, it's all connected. So of course one's going to affect the other. But I really had a hard time. I had to break up with food at one point, like just go ahead, have the funeral. I don't love you are fuel now. You are not my
Right.
BFF anymore. But there's still some beautiful things that I enjoy. I have tons of stuff I can eat, but it was grains for me and I had to cut it out entirely. And it's different for each person. And I think that's what the point of it is when you're reassessing and taking responsibility for our health, it's going to be different for each person. That's why it's so important that you're your advocate.
Yeah. And it might be different even for one person over a period of time. When I was really focusing on my body fighting that chemo, I was so much more diligent about reducing my sugar intake. Whereas now that, all that my blood levels are so much better and I'm exercising and feeling better, I'm not as strict, so it's can be for a season of time too. Even for one individual person.
Yeah. I agree with you over a period of time. And like you said, now you're in the best health of your life. And that's different than what it would have been pre-cancer. And so it's just going to look different throughout stages of our life. And folks, that's okay. Like we're all just doing our best out here. Let's just make sure we're doing our best. Do you know?
Right.
I'd like to dive in just a touch deeper if you don't
Yeah.
mind. I want to ask you first, is there something continuously or something like an individual moment that your husband did or was doing during that time that was special to you?
Oh my goodness. He was everything. um, you know, we had we're about to celebrate 15 years of marriage. We've been together for a very long time in very different stages. Another health thing, both of my children are IVF children. We went through a lot of medical things.
That'll be another episode.
Yeah, but a lot of medical things together. And
Yeah.
I'm a very type A, like want to be in charge, want to know what's going on. And I can clearly remember after, having both of our kids, I was like, all right, God really showed me during IVF to like let go, that I'm not in control. Well,
I'm sorry to laugh, but I'm just like,
no, he really didn't, because cancer was it. I mean, fertility, I'm not diminishing it at all. Like,
no, but
very difficult and
different than
hard.
cancer.
But cancer was like, no, sorry, you're going to be in bed. Like, you're going to have to rely on your family, on your husband to take care of your children, to take care of your businesses. It was a hard lesson. I have a very hard time of just, I'm like, I have to just lay here. I don't know what that's like. So he was amazing. He was my rock through all of it. He didn't miss one single appointment. Again, thank the Lord, it was pre-COVID. He could come with me to everything. So I could go on and on and on. There's not one moment. It was all the moments.
Yeah. Just all the way through.
Yeah.
What a wonderful blessing that is. Did your prayer life change?
Oh my, just a little. Just a little. There's just times where, I can think of this one instance. I was, I guess, 2 months into chemo and just constipated beyond, like, it was awful. I was taking so many drugs to try to make it not be that. And it was to the point where I was about to go to the ER. Like it was, and when you're going through chemo, that's like I couldn't move. It was so bad. And you don't want to go to the ER when you're in chemo. Like, you don't want to be around all those germs. And I just remember calling my dad and I was like, this is the moment. Like, I need everyone in the world that we know praying for me right now.
Right now.
I can't even talk. I'm in such pain. And he did. And I can't even remember the people that reached out during that time. And within like 2 hours, I was fine. Whereas it had been days of just agony. And it was
Yeah.
just like, okay, I need to use that. I need to use that. I'm not doing this on my own.
Prayer
No,
works.
like
Okay.
it's a and the outward prayer, the outward asking for help.
Yes. Yeah.
It's one
Utilizing the
thing.
community. It's different. You're just
Yes.
laying there, but you can lay there and then open your mouth, right?
Yes. And
Yeah.
say, hey guys, like I need you like circling the wagons right now. And there was time and time again through my journey that I'm like, okay, this is that moment. I'm not in this my own.
Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that.
So
I mean, listen,
it's hard to ask for help.
it's so hard. Yeah. And I can imagine, Rachel, just listening to you talk about it, that somebody in the community, you might have reminded them today, like, they need to ask for help.
Yeah, whatever
I'm
the
not,
struggle is,
I'm feeling alone, but I can, I can ask for help, even if the help is 911, even if the help is a crisis line, even if the help is a sibling that you haven't talked to for 5 years, whatever we have somebody, hopefully. And if not, there are services and resources and places, because if it's not cancer, I mean, I said this, I say it all the time. If you're breathing, you're dealing with something, and there's no shame in that. And maybe asking for help, maybe that's the thing right now, you know?
Yep. Yep. And some of us certainly have a harder time than others when we like to be in control. So yes, what have I learned? That's a big one. Like to raise
Yeah.
my hand, whatever it is. Like I can't do this on my own.
Yeah. What else have you learned, Rachel? What else? I mean, this
Else.
fortitude
Yeah.
and faith that's been grown in the midst of struggle. Like, what else?
Relationships, I feel like I look at very differently.
Mm.
In, family, friends, especially just wanting to be more real, and be more connected and be more purposeful, in, reaching out to people on my side. I feel like it's kind of been part of my recovery journey, like,
What's that?
um, trying to be there and be that support for other people, just like everybody was for me. I
Is,
feel like that's been a big shift in maybe pre-cancer Rachel.
is it interesting how there's a pre and a post, like that's the
Oh, for
marker,
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything changes. Your perspective just, it's never the same, which I'm, now that I'm here and I just got a really good report last week that I don't have to go for testing until every 6 months now. So I can say all these things, but, I really just try and encourage people when they're in it too, that,
Yeah.
just try and, pay attention to what's happening around you too. And then when you get to the other side, what can you do
Reach back.
to help people? Mm-hmm.
Was there a moment that you were surprised at how hard it was, and that so many people had gone before you? To think about there are so many people who have gone through this. This is
Oh my goodness.
awful.
Yeah. Yeah. And younger, like
It really
you
connects you to
just,
your empathy
for
for
sure.
people.
For sure. Especially when you're dealing with the doctors and nurses, that you think, oh my gosh, the love that they're pouring on me right now. And
They're going to do it
you
in the
do
next group.
this every single day. It's
Oh, pray
just,
for your doctors and nurses.
yes, yes. Like I think
Yeah.
we've been so focused on the medical community over the last year for a real reason.
Yeah, for a good reason.
But there's ones that are out there just, all their oncology professionals, what they're dealing with every day. They are unbelievable. They have such a gift.
Yeah. They have a buoyancy that's coming from somewhere.
For
That's for
sure.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rachel, if you could look back and tell somebody that in the midst of cancer, in the midst of maybe even IVF, or in the midst of pivoting in business, these really hard places where either you're struggling really hard or you're having to really take a risk.
Mhm.
If there's one or two things that you could say to that person that's just in the thick of it right now, what would you say to encourage them?
Oh my goodness, to take it one moment at a time. I feel like, the cliche, one day at a time, you're fine. It's one moment, and have grace on yourself that you're not going to be perfect through it. Whatever the challenge is, it's so difficult, and you don't have to be strong 1000% of the time. Just take one little step each moment and just kind of, it sounds cliche, but it was so important for me in so many times to know, oh, I don't have to like move this huge mountain today.
Hmm.
I just need to take, this time in this hour and, get through this drug that's going through my body, or I need to try and sleep, or, whatever it is, it's not going to all happen in a day. And you don't necessarily have to get it all done right away
Yeah,
either.
I mean,
It's these little teeny tiny baby steps.
yeah. I can't be CEO, Rachel, right now. I'm trying to keep food down.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, that. Uh-huh.
Like, oh,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I remember first getting sober, and it wasn't, you know, be healthy and have healthy, et cetera, et cetera. It was get out of bed and brush your teeth
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
eat something today. And that
Yeah.
was success every single
Yeah.
day. Don't
Yeah.
drink and don't use, and eat something and brush your teeth and take a shower.
Yeah. Using the word success, like how are you defining your success right now?
Yeah.
So I am blessed to be part of this amazing mom's boot camp class that I just
What?
started this spring. I know.
I am
Who
so
would have thought?
excited.
Who would have thought? 3
I'm
days a
gonna
week,
drive by.
6 o'clock in the morning in a parking lot.
Never mind.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But the lady that runs it is probably one of the best encouragers that I have ever met. And I
Wonderful.
was just thinking of
My
an email.
people.
She sent out this email this afternoon that I read right before this. And it was talking about, getting back into exercise and how overwhelming that can be. And you don't think you're successful unless you're doing a hard, long exercise.
Hmm.
Well, who's defining that? Maybe all you can fit in today is 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
And that's all you can do. But if you
Yeah.
start doing that every day, or, whatever you can fit in, you blink and go, oh my gosh, like, look where I am now. So you
Yeah.
just have to define what those success points are. They don't
Right.
necessarily have to be some huge big thing that somebody says this is what you need to get done.
But every milestone is made up of a thousand little steps, right? I mean,
Right.
we're looking for that big milestone, and it's like, you've got to take all these tiny steps to get there, right?
Right.
Oh
Even
my
so,
gosh.
sometimes those little steps might not be as exciting, but you look back later and go, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Diligence in the small things, family. Okay,
Yes.
so two questions I ask everybody who's on the podcast, and that is, what is your favorite season? And if you thought about your life, whether you choose a specific area or your life in general, if you thought about it in seasons like gardening, what growth season would you say you're in right now?
Oh, man. And I should have known you're going to ask these, and I should have had
Okay,
answers.
just favorite season. We'll start small.
Favorite season, spring.
Oh, love it. Okay.
Spring is definitely my favorite season. Just coming out of the winter, and when things are just a little more worn down and life starts coming back. And as moms, especially as small kids, springs can get a little crazy. Just with all the activities and end of school, and but it's also really exciting. There's just always so much like fun things that are going on. So I love spring. So I'm very happy that it's spring right now. Yes.
It is nice, isn't it? I'm really enjoying sending my little guy out the door. We're pre-activities mostly. So
yeah.
So the other one was, what growth season are you in? Are you winter, or winter going into spring? Are you a little bit of fall? You're approaching some things you want to deal with maybe in winter, or you're full bloom? What do you think?
Oh, definitely not full bloom.
Not yet, man. I think I'll be
No.
70 or 80 before I'm full bloom, but it goes in
Yeah.
cycles,
For sure. For sure. I'm definitely far from that. I don't know, maybe just starting to sprout. Like I feel like,
Okay.
you know, I just feel like personally and business wise, just feeling so much more comfortable in
Mm,
kind of where I am and the things that I want to spend my time with.
yeah.
Um, that, you know, a lot of things are starting to come to fruition. That's not the right word, but, you know, start to
You're
come
starting to
alive.
see some evidence of some stuff
Yeah.
popping up out of the ground. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yes, I like it. Rachel, thank you so, so much. I think that is our time, although I want to keep talking to you because I know that there's so much that we can go over. But I just want to say thank you so much for your time and for sharing your heart and your expertise with the growth season community. And we look forward to hearing and seeing you, seeing what God does in your life coming up next.
Thank you so much, Susan. Loved being here.
You bet. Bye.
Bye.